Ladies and gentlemen, the coronavirus is really causing all kinds of strains between countries, not just the US and China, but really globally. People are afraid. Chinatown across America, they've lost 90% of their business. People don't want to go into Chinatown. They fear getting the coronavirus. And I can certainly understand. And people are concerned about all these goods coming over here from China. Fear of many of the goods being, impacted by this virus. You don't want no corona goods coming to your country. They're telling you approximately how long this virus can live on a surface, but nothing is guaranteed at this point. It's gotten to the point, even here in the US, a lot of people don't even want to be in contact with Chinese people, and they're viewing that as racist. I said, no, people are trying to be on the side of caution right now. So if it's having this kind of impact locally, you can imagine what it's doing between the US and China, who was already in a major trade war for the last few years. So this came out on NPR February 14th, 2020 for US and China. Coronavirus adds pressure to relationship already under strain. And I truly believe that, y'all. I really do. I think people are scared. They're in doubt of what this virus is going to do on a pandemic level. And unfortunately, every time I hear news out of China, I know we're not getting the full truth. They do very much like America. They try to downplay numbers and lowball numbers and stuff. And that's really no good when you look at the big scale of what this virus can potentially be on the planet. And they've already said this coronavirus is going to become even more deadlier than it is now. It's going to actually mutate and get stronger. So I'm going to go ahead and play this audio from NPR.
The number of people infected with the coronavirus has passed 20,000. The World Health Organization says the risk of it spreading remains high. They are urging countries to share information to battle the deadly virus, but lack of coordination between two key players, the US and China, is making that effort more difficult, as NPR's Jackie Northam reports.
The sheer scale of the coronavirus requires an all hands on deck kind of approach, sharing data and coordinating a response to what could very well turn into a pandemic. But that cooperation has been elusive for the world's two economic superpowers.
Right now, the US China relationship is suffering from a deep deficit of trust.
That's Evan Medeiros, a former chief advisor for Asia on the National Security Council in the Obama administration. He says a certain level of distrust has always been part of the US China relationship. But a bruising trade war and significant strategic differences have exacerbated the bad blood between the two countries. Maduro says even if its relationship is becoming more competitive, the coronavirus illustrates there are some issues where the US and China need to work together.
As China becomes a global power, the US and China are going to need to cooperate on big global issues like climate change, pandemics, global economic growth.
Maduro says there has been cooperation amongst US and Chinese scientists, but cooperation at the government level feels a long way away. Beijing turned down an offer by the Centers for Disease Control to travel to China. Messaging by Washington has seemed mixed. Last week, Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross told Fox Business News there might be a silver lining to the coronavirus.
I think it will help to accelerate the return of jobs to North America, some to U.S., probably some to Mexico as well.
The administration also issued its highest travel alert to China, introduced a quarantine, and announced it would deny entry to foreign nationals who had been in China in the past 2 weeks. A Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson accused the Trump administration of spreading fear and panic. But Derek Scissors, an Asia economist at the American Enterprise Institute, says many other countries have also introduced travel restrictions.
The Chinese are more sensitive to the United States closing its borders than any other country because we're the global leader. If Burundi closes its borders, if Belgium closes its borders, if Botswana closes its borders, it doesn't really matter.
Scissors says the administration doesn't believe China has been forthcoming about the scope of the virus or the measures it's taking to contain it. Scott Kennedy, a China specialist at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, says historically the Chinese have wanted to control the message. But Kennedy says the U.S. is justified pushing Beijing for more information.
The U.S. needs a lot more transparency from China. And we need that to be built in so that if we're going to continue to allow people to travel back and forth and do business with each other, we don't have a constant fear about the health consequences of that.
There is one ray of hope. Beijing says it will consider allowing American scientists to join a team from the World Health Organization when it travels to China in the coming days. Jackie Northam, NPR News.
Now, how can we really trust these people from any government where they both got horrible track records? But I do agree with what Trump is doing. I don't think you can be too cautious. So on this, I agree with Trump. You got to be on the side of caution when it comes down to things that can potentially, which is, I really already believe it's a pandemic, but to prevent it from getting worse. So in this case, the way Trump is handling it, and, you can't embrace a country full of people and this kind of stuff is going on. So if you're not going to let foreign nationals in here that have traveled to China, I think that's a good move. Why is that a bad thing? That's not straining no relationship. That's keeping your people safe. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just don't see this thing getting better anytime soon. And we already know China, they're not doing so well with this thing. And if China is struggling with this coronavirus, can you imagine what's going to happen on the world scale? I really truly do not believe this planet is prepared for a major pandemic. And the way this thing is spreading among medical personnel in China, and these people are covered from head to toe. So, if you're just wearing a face mask, what is that supposed to do? What is that supposed to do? And last time I looked, they have 760 million people under quarantine. Oh, wow. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. There were some claims that the coronavirus don't do well in warm weather. I don't see how anybody knows that yet. There's cases virtually everywhere now, you know? So we shall see. And China is generally one of those places that's cold. And it's just spreading and growing, and they are just struggling. I did a story yesterday on how they're trying to disinfect the money, and I just don't see how that's going to work, but this is really a bad situation for the planet. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.